Okay, it's 10:30 in the morning and we're supposed to have an eclipse going on here. I don't see any eclipse. Let's try the sunglass. Okay. I still don't see anything, so subscribe and get back with me 100 years from now. We'll try it again. And in this video we will be examining the 2018 Honda Odyssey, which has been improved for this year. We've also been driving this 2017 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, which is rated at 32 mpg overall. This is a plug-in hybrid, so if you charge it through this port, you can run the vehicle up to 35 miles on battery power alone. We'll have a link for the Pacifica test at the end of this video. We're at our garage today. Honda says the vehicle is 10% lighter, yet 44% stronger as far as body structure goes, with some interior improvements. Styling-wise, all vans look alike to me, but if you look at the attention to detail, I guess this is a pretty sharp-looking vehicle. The base price of an Odyssey runs around $30,000, but in this case we had the fully equipped, top-of-the-line Elite. There are no options on the Elite. It comes standard with everything. I won't read it off. I'll just scroll with the camera. You can freeze the frame if you see anything that interests you. Here's a second row. And the total price, a bit higher than the $30,000 base, I would say. For those of you who don't like Japanese products, I'll let you know that this is made in Lincoln, Alabama. As always, the first thing we do when you get a vehicle is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they perform. We'll do that right now. I think it's dark enough, so let's try these headlights out and see what they do. Here we have the lights on a building 100 feet away. Bright enough, but very, very low to the ground. Lower than I would like. Go with the high beams. A big improvement. Here we have the high beams on the building 300 feet away, more than adequate. Go to low beam, of course it doesn't reach, but more than adequate for city driving. One thing I dislike about some other vans and SUVs is when you open the doors, the interior lights come on and you can't turn them off. Not very good when you're camping because it attracts insects and drains the battery. Fortunately, this is not a problem with the Honda Odyssey van. As you can see, I have all four doors open, as well as the rear hatch, and all the interior lights are out, thanks to a switch located in the cabin. If you do a lot of camping and like leaving your doors open, this is definitely a feature you would like to have. You'll be surprised at the number of vehicles where you cannot turn off the interior lights with the doors open unless you want to smash the light with a hammer. And I've been tempted several times to do so. But they want their vehicles back in one piece, so I restrain myself. I'm being attacked by some weird creature here. Say goodbye to YouTube. The base and only engine is Honda's famous 3.5 liter V6, putting out 280 horsepower. A 9-speed automatic gearbox is standard on most of the Odyssey vans. If you order the top-of-the-line Elite, you'll get the new 10-speed automatic, which is very smooth and quiet, but we'll talk about that later when we're doing our test drive. The official EPA rating is 19 mpg in the city, 28 on the highway, and 22 in mixed city freeway commuting. Later in the video, we'll give you the real figures we got in daily driving, so stay tuned. The third row seating I can only rate as excellent. You can actually fit 3 people back here. Most vans you can only squeeze in 2 very small people. If you're not hauling passengers on the third row seating, they do fold down like this. giving you room to store small boxes and other gear. If you need to haul bigger objects, these seats do disappear, giving a flat surface and lots of extra room. While the second row seats do fold down, they do not disappear into the floor, but they are removable, which gives more flat space, but they are rather heavy and awkward to carry out. It does take some muscle, but it can be done. Looking at the rest of the cabin, we have some positive features and not so positive features. We can start with this instrument panel, which is very nice looking, very well laid out, and easy to see when you're in the shade. But when you get in the sun, you can see the reflection blocks out a lot of the information you need to see. I'll put my hand over it so you can see the difference. If the sun's not directly behind you, it's not as bad, depending on the angle. But you can see it doesn't always work. Again, you can see the difference on the left. You have the reflection of the sun. On the right, you don't, and it's pretty clear. This isn't a serious issue, but I would have thought that this would have been solved before the vehicle went into production. It didn't, so you just have to live with it. Number two, Honda has this phobia about knobs. They just don't like knobs. For example, the transmission shifting. On the dash, you could have just one knob with all the gears. Instead, we got a park, reverse, neutral, drive, 4 controls when one would do. It works. It's not an issue. Just kind of odd to me why you would want 4 buttons when one would work. Also, a lot of the buttons on Hondas are extremely small. Makes you wonder if the elves in the Enchanted Forest are putting these together. Kind of awkward to use when you're wearing gloves. Same with the stereo system. When you want to change the channels instead of a knob, you have to press these little icons on the screen. Easy to do when you're sitting, not so easy when you're driving. There is one victory, however. Starting in the late 2017 and 2018 models, Honda will have a knob for the volume control. Instead of that old system, we had that finger touch. Well, I won't describe it. It just didn't work. This works. We finally get a volume knob. Thank you, Honda. And along with the positive feature of the volume knob, we also get extremely large buttons on the left side of the dash for the door opening, closing, the hatchback opening, closing, other gadgets that I won't go into in detail. The glove box is large enough if you take the owner's manuals out, as you should anyway. We get an extra large console between the seats, capable of holding lots of gear if the glove box doesn't cut it for you. And surprise, another storage locker down below. We get map storage pockets on the rear seats. You'd be surprised in more vehicles that don't. Thus far, the gripes I have about the cabin are minor. They're not that serious. I can live with it. But there is one thing I do not like about the Odyssey, and that's found down below. The rocker panels underneath the door are way too wide. Every time you step out of the vehicle, all of this is rubbing on your pants, which wouldn't be an issue, except this is exposed to the outside, so if you live where it rains or there's snow, mud, dust, all this is going to go off the bodywork and right on your pants every time you get in and out of the vehicle. It's nice and shiny now because I cleaned it. It was raining yesterday, got mud all over the bodywork, mud all over my pants. Keep some paper towels and Windex if you live where it snows or rains a lot, if you want to keep your pants clean. If you're a female and you like dressing like Hillary with those pantsuits, you've been warned. Okay, enough show and tell. It's time to do some driving, and since I've been in this for around 4 days, I can tell you from now on it's going to be a very positive experience. This is a very comfortable vehicle to drive, so let's take a look. This 3.5 liter V6 is proven very reliable, and as a bonus it's very smooth and quiet. And hitched to this 10-speed automatic transmission, even better. 0 to 60 acceleration is more than adequate, and I noticed that when the engine hits the red line, there's a very nice growl coming out from under the hood like a race car. Well, we'll show you. By the way, this gearbox does have a sport mode for quicker acceleration, or paddle shifters on the steering wheel, kind of odd on a minivan, but better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? Ooh, wheel spin. You hear the engine when it hits red line. Nice smooth brakes, by the way. As far as ride comfort, this is the smoothest van I've driven in the past couple of years. Very, very comfortable. So it'll be interesting to see how it performs on these speed bumps, doing 20 to 30 miles per hour. Here comes bump number 1. Didn't feel too much. Bump number 2. More noise than anything else. Number 3, here comes a nasty one. No worse than the others. I'd say it passed. As stated before, this is rated 19 mpg in the city, which is what I was getting until I was doing these acceleration tests. Now it's dropped to 17.8. We're doing some more mpg testing, so stay tuned. By the way, Honda redid this power steering system. Even though it's electric, it feels hydraulic. Excellent response, great feedback. They did an excellent job. We're going to take a short highway trip, see if we can bump up the fuel economy figures on the screen here. So we're going to reset it to 0. Here we go, 31 miles, 24.1 miles to the gallon. Not bad really for 75 mile per hour cruising. This is fuel economy test number 2. We're doing some expressway driving, keeping it around 65 miles per hour. Occasional burst at 70 miles per hour. I think the fuel economy is going to be improved a bit, but we'll see. Well, we got 15 miles of driving at 65 miles per hour, averaging 29 miles per gallon. But for the rest of the trip, we found ourselves in a traffic jam, so we'll just see what the mileage is coming up. We're at the end of our highway trip. As stated earlier, for the first 15 miles, we were doing 29 mpg. Because of the heavy traffic, it dropped to 26.8 mpg, which is still pretty good and definitely better than what we did last night. I'm not complaining. Here's my take on the Honda van. Number 1, it's a very high quality vehicle, and because it's a Honda, it's going to be running long after the warranty expires, as most Hondas do. It's also very comfortable to drive, especially on long trips. If you're hauling a lot of people and cargo on long journeys, this is definitely a van you want to look at. One drawback is finding one of the base $30,000 Odyssey vans on the dealer's lot is going to be difficult, because most of these get delivered, loaded up with options, and it's pretty hard to find one less than 40,000 bucks. While most other van manufacturers give hefty rebates and discounts, this doesn't happen at the Honda dealer very often. You might find yourself being charged full sticker price. I guess this brings up the old saying, you get what you pay for, so let your wallet or your bank account be your guide. If you want to see the video review we did on the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, just click on the link.